Hey everyone, welcome to the BrickCity podcast reboot. Uh, I'm your host, or new host, Peter, and I've taken over from those other schmucks. We're gonna be trying out something different, trying to go for more freeform content. Andrew and TJ have been a little bit busy, so they aren't able to run this anymore. Uh, but yeah, we'll get started with this week's podcast. We have some local Gallantmon whales. We've got Dragonshack, aka Ben. We got
Hello.
Laszlo.
Hello.
And we got SixTalez, aka Tyler.
Hello.
So, boys, how's it feel finally having a good deck? No offense. Like Gallantmon, it's always been there. It's always been a protagonist. It hasn't had the same ups that its counterparts have had in like Greymon or Imperial, but like you guys have gotten a lot of big toys, especially since we just got 2.5 released out here in North America. How's it feel with in general with all the new toys?
I would love to start by saying, God, I am so happy with the updates and how the deck feels now. But also, I feel like shit playing it because nobody has fun because I just steamroll sometimes.
Nah, dude, you suffered for long enough. It's like it's your turn.
I have, but then I also get the people at my locals that play it against me, and they go, "Oh, you finally get to play Gallantmon because it's good." And then they have to play against like 5 other Gallantmons that hopped on the Gallantmon train, and I just go, "Well, I'm just gonna play Jank now."
I mean, I 100% agree. It's like that saying, from, you either Dark Knight style, you either die a hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. And since we've been playing it from the start, that's just been what it's happened. And like locally, Gallantmon people were like, "Oh, sweet, he's playing Gallantmon." They like flood the table. That's cool. Now it's like eye rolls. It's like I get it, but it's time. It's finally time to make Gallantmon great again.
2 to 3 years of trash going to mill base, going to X antibody, trying to OTK, going to raid base in BT12 and then BT13, finally getting a good Gallantmon. It's just it's so weird actually being a meta deck now.
Yeah, it was really weird that they leaned away from that whole like I remember EX2 Gallantmon traumatized me when I first started playing of the very like heavy deletion effects, and then they started going to mill and stuff, which mill's cool. We do have our local player Alex AP Mach who's won with Millith before, but that's not really Gallant, right? That's not really Chaos Gallant either. That's a separate kind of engine. But having pure Gallant, it's strong red effects, like a true protagonist red deck. It kind of feels nice.
Yeah, I've told him
against this. I'm gonna go against all of you guys. I don't like playing Gallantmon right now because it's meta. I enjoyed it when it was like people weren't really expecting. Oh, Gallantmon's not good. All right, let me show you my person and show them the power of Gallantmon. Now you just go in there, you're playing Gallantmon, and be like, you're playing this now. You're a bandwagon. I'm like, no, I've been playing this from the start.
that's explicitly why I have not been playing Gallant. And every time I hear bandwagon Gallant, I pull out the binder and I'm like, show me where.
No, man, you gotta be like Laz. For the audience here, we're just gonna put up quickly everyone's kind of lists that we're gonna have, and we'll have these in the description too. So just quick, like boom, boom, boom. Producer, I hope to put those in. If you see the one that's all blinged out, that's Laz's list. I go by the same thing. I try to whale out all my decks. Even when I was playing Black War before, people looked at me like the villain, but sometimes you just gotta embrace it. It's the deck you want to play. You have it blinged out. You gotta show off the cards, right?
Here's a question which I really want to ask is how much each one of us has spent on the Galmon deck, and you don't have to tell your wives. If she listens
Please
to
no.
if she
Please
listens to
no.
the podcast, you know what? It is what it is, buddy. I know both of you guys are married. I'm single, so
We can
So
bleep
I
this
made a
out.
joke to put it bluntly. I made a joke to one of my buddies when we were playing at locals, and I was like, "So, how much your car worth?" I was like, I'll trade up right now. I'll trade up right now.
Listen,
Damn.
I actually got things way before they skyrocketed. I'm surprised at how much they've skyrocketed. Like I went back to look at Guilmons. I got EX2 Searcher Guilmons when they were like $15 each over 2 to 3 years ago, and now they're at like 47 hovering.
No way.
Yeah,
Damn.
yeah. Same with the Takatos. Takatos, I got them when they were like $20. So impossible to find. I think I overpaid because Abby Way told me, like, DM'd me as soon as somebody traded in a deck to Trinity Hobby, and they traded in their whole blinged out Gallant deck, and I just bought almost every piece back then.
Damn.
So I overpaid a little bit, but considering the price now, I underpaid. Like, I got my money's worth.
Hey man, it was a
'Cause
deal at the
Takatos-
time, right? And it's only going to appreciate in value because now that you actually have like better stuff, more support, it's just going to keep going up.
Yeah, Warp Takatos when I got them were like $30, $25. They're up to like 50. BT13 Gallantmon alt darts, I got them at like 50 or 60. They're up to like 80 or 90 now. Like, it's insane. I think the only thing that's dropped on my list was the Gallant X alt darts.
Well, BT13 you could also blame Royal
You could-
Knights and Purple Hybrid.
You can chuck that in literally anything. Oh, speaking
Yeah,
of
Oh
this
man,
one, oh
that's
god,
why
the new
we're so
promo.
good.
Yeah. Wait, Ben, how much? You're not dodging the question. How much did you pay for this?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I paid a lot of money, and if I put the amount of money, it's probably right now my deck's probably worth maybe 1.7.
I was gonna say this guy can pay off his mortgage.
Damn.
1.7. That's being conservative, and like I don't have the Alti Cup Crimson Moat, and I was thinking of making a bid for it, but like $2,100 is still up there. I'm not
Just run the SP.
No, I just want it, but at the same time, it's
Just run the SP says.
Okay, the SP is only like 150.
No, yeah, to be fair, an SP is much easier to get than the
no.
top tournament prizing ones.
I'm talking about the old EX2 one, but like
You want to run EX2 Gallant?
just one of.
Or you mean
It's
Crimson?
not-
You mean
it's
Crimson
flex,
mode?
bro.
Wait,
It's
Crimson
flexing.
mode or regular Gallant?
Crimson mode.
Okay, yes, I agree with that.
All right, boys.
I told Laszlo, like Laszlo, I'm like, yo, you know what? Give my number to your kids. Just at the end of the day, when they want to sell your Gallantmon deck, they'll be like, give it to this guy first.
Yeah, if your dad ever upsets you, just take this deck and give it to Uncle Ben
Oh.
over here.
Stop, no. Although I did promise my wife, if we ever got to that point, like I could totally pay for their school with Gallantmon. It's fine.
That's very fair. That's very fair. I told my friend to bury the deck with me.
Honestly, noble cause. I do it. Nah,
Noble
I'm,
cause.
I'm taking it with me. I chose to spend this money.
Yeah, I did calcs on mine recently. I think the current value is about 1.4K unconverted. So obviously we do unconverted here, but if we convert, then obviously that
I don't even want to talk about how much I paid if we were to convert or whatever.
Yeah.
How much it's worth.
Yeah, especially with your list with the 4 mugshot gallants.
Let's
Like
no,
it's three mugshots.
Oh, sorry,
it's
with the
three.
3.
We don't need a fourth one. We don't need
Oh, sorry.
it. But we
yeah,
do. We do
there's
flex.
There's the medieval gallant. There's
I feel like the
full
medieval is
red
the-
crimson. Like they're so nice though.
I feel
Honestly,
like the medieval
they're
is
such
the
nice
scariest thing there.
If you guys had to
really,
pick-
really sad. I'm gonna be really sad. Like Kiki offered me the medieval Gallantmon first, and he's like, "Yo, man, do you want it?" And then I'm like, "Bro, I don't have money for it. I'm playing 2 card games." And he's like, "Yo, cool, don't worry, I'll sell it to Laszlo instead." And I was like, my heart. At least it's going.
Let me pull up the receipts real quick here.
Damn, I want that medieval gallant. I don't even play Gallantmon. I want the medieval gallant.
Yo, that art is fucking fire.
I just realized that he has
I
a crimson mode there just to flex. It's not even in the deck.
Yeah, it's a
Yep,
flex. I told Kiki to sell it to Ben, and then he's like, Ben doesn't want it. Do you want it? And I was like, well, I don't want some. And he was basically saying, if you don't buy it, I'll post it. I'm like, nah, we can't let this leave the family. Like let me just offer up my soul and grab that SP medieval,
Yeah. So just on the topic of kind of our whale cards, our chase cards here. If you guys had to pick one card in this, or 1 or 2 cards, let's make it fair, of the entire deck, like what's your favorite arts coming out of this?
In
I'll
my
go
deck
first.
personally, oh yeah, let Ben go first.
I'd say out of like the medieval, like out of the gallant package. Like it's more points if you have it in your own deck, because like we can't all get the cards that we want because sometimes there's problems to supply and money troubles here and there. But like of the gallant package, what's your like favorite arts?
Okay, nothing's topping Medi SP.
Yeah, mid SP goes kind of hard.
I feel like that should be disqualified because that goes in every deck.
No, that was the one I was going to talk about.
That's why I'm trying to disqualify it.
I think my favorite art is the BT-17 Takato. I remember when I was in Niagara where there was like 158 people. I literally went to 65 people and I'd be like, "Hey, please, do you have Takato from BT-17 Altart?" They're like, "Nope, nope, nope." I went and asked almost every single one. They were like, "Yo, is this man crazy?" And then I
Ben-
finally found one.
Ben offered to pay me double market price for the third one that I had in my binder because I was like, maybe I should run 3. And I didn't want to let go of the third one. And Ben just kept asking me for it.
I was
Two
like,
Gallant
"Yo,
whales fighting each other for the prize card in their deck.
Because, like, you always need that one extra plus the one that you're running just in case you decide you're going to run it, you know?
Yeah.
so
It's
for
a yeah, 100%. When you play Gallantmon, you are a good pilot and you've been doing it for a long time. You 100% need to have the toolbox. Like you just do.
let's go around and see which one is our favorite Gallantmon, like the art, just the actual Digimon. Like for me, it would be the BT-12 one. I think that art is really, really fire.
The
The alt art,
BT-12,
obviously.
yeah, the BT-12 alt art is really good. I am very biased towards BT-12 regionals, the regionals art, because Scroy got me the champion card off of Kiki for Christmas and my birthday, and that art goes real hard.
I'm disqualified, but I'm still going to talk about it because Medieval Gallantmon doesn't go away. You know what I'm saying?
No,
Like
man, we
that
gotta
SP,
highlight it. It's too nice.
that SP, when I pick it up, it's like Deus Ex Machina in my hands. I'm salivating. It's like freaking Sung Jin Woo coming out with the shadows. It's like I'm freaking solo leveling this bitch. Like it's so strong. It's so cool. The just the texture of it. I wish I could just like give that to you as like listeners. Just feel the power because it's so strong and in this format it's such an amazing tech card. Like we were talking about BT-13 earlier, sprinkle that shit and everything. This is that card.
That's his egress.
Yeah, there's so many decks now that are literally just like somewhere between 1 and 4 medieval gallons, and then you put some sort of shell around it. Like I play Tyrant and I run 2. I'm running 1 right now because I can't find a second, but I'd run
Bro.
2 if I had them.
I was playing against a blue flare, and I just got this dude just dropped 2 medieval gallants on me.
It's
And I
not
was
even.
like, what do you
That's
mean?
not
That's
even
not
a
even
blue
a blue
card.
flare. I'm like, how'd you get that in the deck?
No, as a non
Yeah, it's
Gallant player,
Yeah.
like as a non Gallant player, I love the BT-13 Royal Knights altar, the gold background one with
Oh,
the
I
Omni
love
back
it.
to back. But the one thing that's kind of underrated, and I'm so jealous of, all of your border cards, the red and purple border looks so good.
Oh, they're so good.
Fire.
Like all the border cards, I really like them in Digimon in general, but there's something about these Gallant ones specifically, the red and purple ones, that I think look super, super nice.
I like that they match the participant War Growl, the EX3 one. Like they just complement it so well.
Yeah, because it makes it a more complete set, right?
Yeah, when you get it on the stack, it's just like the alternating color and the border, just oof, real good.
What's your guys' line for War Growlmon? Because that's a little bit of a controversial topic because like me and Laszlo, we compare notes all the time and like we have like totally different things. Like he prioritizes more of the older War Growlmon that gives the attacking inherit and getting 2 memory. I prioritize more of the EX3 one because for the tamers.
I also do EX3 because I find myself to be a lot more mill based since that's where I really found my footing with Gallant. But also, it's just saved me so many times just to mill somebody out. Be like, oh, you have like 5 cards in deck. All right, Black Growlmon for 2, War Growlmon for 3, and GG shake my head.
Yeah, I used to be that way, and then I think that if this if this ban list is going to touch us, it's going to be the BT-12 War Growlmon. Being able to cheat into your Mega with an X if you have like X antibody underneath, then blitzing or raiding or whatever into the Gallant X to get all of the pop offs, then gaining the 2 memory. It's too strong, the BT12 one, in my opinion, to let go of. I'm getting an SP War Growlmon Ace in the mail, like, as we speak, and I'm probably not even going to run it because this one just is too strong to ignore right now. And then, like, I don't know, it's one of those cards where I didn't think it would be that good, and then you'd end of turn warp, and then you can get the turn back with it. Like, it's too strong. I love it. I have 4 copies of the Alti Cup War Growl, and like I run 3, and then I run the older style EX3 because I used to love it so much, just like you guys. And I realized more and more with the matches, especially my locals that I've been playing, like I can really be oppressive with that extra memory gain, and though cheating out up into Mega from like rookie. Like you can OTK with it. You can go from BT19 Gallantmon in the back. If you have the memory setter and the warp Tikado, you go up to 5. At 5 memory, you can get all the way to the top, swing, like get to 5. Like if you have the perfect high roll, you can just go into any Growlmon, really, Growlmon X, go into that particular War Growlmon, and if you have 5 memory, you're at 0. You don't have to use the effect to warp up or to like speed up or turbo up. You could just go War Growlmon X with an X antibody underneath, swing, go to Gallant X, get all that memory back, whatever. It's too strong. It's just, I don't know.
I do agree. I have found myself when the deck initially got its new pieces, I ran Wargrowl only at 1, and I ran 2 BT17 Wargrowlmons just because you get that unsuspend, you get that extra hit before you get to Gallant X, which I do find myself still getting. I have hit like 4 security on turn 3 because of that guy, and it's just so good. But the balancing for level 5 specifically seems to be the hardest thing about this deck, because you can just keep throwing pieces in and being like, hey, I'm just gonna warp directly from Gil to Gallant. Sometimes you need the pieces in trash, sometimes you don't, but going directly up with that piece, it feels a bit crazy.
So
That's why I think that, like, depending on what kind of player you are, your split for War Growls would be quite different. Like I'm a little bit more defensive player. That's why I like having more of the Tamers and like the Growlmons, the Protoforms, just to go up from there. That's why I like the X3 one a little bit better. Prioritize that more. What were you gonna
I
say?
find myself. Oh yeah.
with
No,
so
you
with
go first.
War Growl kind of being like the, I guess the level 5s being the pivotal level in this deck. I'm sorry, I've been using analogies that I have from before. So as like a Greymon player, your level 4s are like the core of the deck. They're like they are the MVPs, right? It sounds like your 5s are kind of MVPs. Would you kind of agree that like that would probably be your best card in the deck, or what do you think would be
I
like the most enabling card? Your MVP. What's Gallantmon's MVP?
For me personally, I really rely on my 4s, on my Growlmons and Black Growlmon. Black Growlmon for recursion, Growl X to float, draw one, trash one, and then the other Growl to delete something or to play out a Tocado. Like those are where, if I can get those pieces with certain things in hand, obviously it's a card game. If you get anything with anything in hand, then you feel better. But there's certain combos that just feel amazing to have in hand. Like you can BT12 Growlmon, and then on another stack, if you've played out a Searcher, you can BT, I think it's the new one, the BT19, you play out another Tocado. Or if you Black Growl, just mill the exact piece you need right away on turn 1. If you're bricking, it's just, I find my 4s to be where my play style is specifically focused in terms of like identity.
Okay. So for you, like just kind of a general mishmash of the forwards would be like the core of your game plan, like the MVPs of the decks, the ones that enabled everything else, right? Like obviously we could say things like Medieval Gallantmon is the MVP because it's broken, but like in terms of the full strategy you want to do, Laszlo put a really good point about your BT12 War Growl being the one that runs everything, right? The one that enables him to execute his plan basically. But like,
Yeah.
so we have kind of the 4s on SixTalez, we have the 5 on you, Laszlo, or would you think it would be something else?
I wish I could answer differently, but honestly, if I were to say, like, if I see that War Growlmon early, I don't know. It's like you set up you put I'm a gas player. Like I'm all about putting the pressure on my opponents. I'm all about like smashing early. I'm all about aggression, turbo. I love my techs though, like my medieval and my BT13 Gallantmons because they're my clapback. But like, I like to just absolutely put pressure on other players, make them fumble a little bit because that's when the mistakes happen mentally, right? It's like, oh shit, I have a 0 security turn. Like you need to like do something or else, right? Like that's how I gamble on that. Like that's what I do.
A
So
true red
BT5
player.
or not BT5, BT12, level 5 War Growlmon gets me there so much faster than anybody can, predict. So
I just think it's so weird with Gallant specifically. It's just like we have so many bad pieces, but then we got good pieces to make the bad pieces also good. And Gallant has just become Gallant Toolbox specifically has become very pilot based. Because if you go from a Gallant X directly into a Gallant Toolbox, there's some things that it just depends on the deck, obviously. But a lot of the time, I feel like the more unique Gallant deck comes out a bit more on top in terms of like gameplay.
So
Yeah,
for
because
me,
it's access to most tools, right? So
Yeah,
like you try to out, but here's the thing: like there's having your tools and trying to get the out for everything, but it's very hard to get the out for everything. I I can see both sides, but I also kind of like Laszlo's like full ape me red me swing, right? It's like, do you want to be a master of all, or do you want to be or sorry, like you want to be like a master of one, like really good, really aggro, or kind of like a jack of all trades kind of thing, right?
oh yeah, I agree. He's
both are good.
definitely got the right. Like if you go, you can go unga bunga, you can go mill, you can go like all of these different things, and obviously the turboing kind of just gets you a little bit more results. Which is why when people ask me for my deck list, I tell them don't follow my deck list because I play like a crackhead.
Yeah, it's a unique thing.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
but you play
I
very
specific.
well. Like that's the other thing. It's like you said it's a pilot's deck. If you are a combo player or a defensive player, then you're gonna have a different list. If you're like a aggro player because you're like for me personally, I love your guys' lists. I've tried your guys' list throughout like before we were even good, and I would take the things that I was good at doing, and then I would make sure that if I were to make mistakes, I'd be like, "Okay, that's a lot of thinking. I need to make sure that this deck works for me, so I'm going to take out a bit of this, add a little bit of lightning joust, and just it's my style. Let's hit them harder and things like that. Like that was like old school, you know."
God, I've been working on a lightning joust OTK deck. It does not go well.
I was thinking of adding fire rockets just for the kicks of it, just that you get that extra security attack +1.
I've
Well,
done
then
it.
why not just run a lightning joust then? Because you get the DP too.
Yeah, lightning joust is also dependent on like how many
Security.
securities your
Yeah.
opponent has, right? Like
Just don't swing.
fire rocket if it hits in security. I think the security option is you delete a blocker or some shit like that.
Pretty strong actually.
Yeah, because that
That's
would be
fair.
great against Magnamon players. At least they can go down a level, you know.
Yeah,
Can we
that's if
not
they're
talk
not a
about Vmon cards though in this podcast? It tilts me. I'm just kidding.
You know what? That's actually a pretty good question. What would you guys think would be the hardest matchups for as a Gallantmon player?
back before we got raid and more pieces. Magna X was so annoying just because you go, okay, BT12 Gallantmon, swing raid, I'm at like 15 or 17k, and then you trash a security and then suddenly they're immune and they also gain DP and you're like, well,
GG's,
oops.
guys.
Yeah,
GG's.
well, GG's, my bad.
Let me pack up my deck and go home and cry a little bit in the car.
Right now, I find that obviously purple hybrid still outspeeds.
Yep.
I haven't really had much experience playing into too many other hard matchups. I think from what I see, like, because a lot of our locals don't. Well, the locals that I attend typically don't really go try hardy or like super meta focused. Only when there's like really insane pricing. But typically we get a good variety
Off
of
when
like,
the untouchable guys comes over.
okay,
Hey,
but
we're sorry, man.
that's fun though.
Hey,
Challenge
sometimes
accepted,
we
right?
gotta spice it up sometimes at Manta there, okay?
Yeah, I can't be playing green gotcha every week without Peter coming over and whooping me a little bit.
Laszlo, what do you think is the hardest matchup? One of the
Yo,
tough
okay.
matchups.
First of all, shout out to Dragon's Den. Okay, that's the Saskatchewan store. Our locals has been very purple, so I've been eating good my entire life as a Gallantmon player. Okay, but before the raid stuff, for sure, purple hybrid as well, like in general, still even. But I think the biggest thing was like Demon Lords was pretty nasty before the new raid Takata.
110% agree.
Personally, found the Demon Lord matchup, well, at least for my deck, to be pretty good. I enjoyed playing against Demon Lords.
I do not. Leviamon and Leviamon, Creepymon, and the Beelzemon, all those guys with the on-play effects of stripping your sources, de-digivolving you, or just like you being say that cool, nice protection you got there. Anyway, I'm gonna kill you and delete the highest and the lowest, and you're just like,
But for that play style, you kind of want, I don't know, like with the new pieces, you
The new
float new
pieces.
pieces, you can keep out milling them, and sometimes you can actually just deck them out, which is what I typically try to do. It's like if you see like in that matchup, if you see a Lucimon on board, just leave it. Like don't touch it.
Yeah. Your list also runs 2 Crimson Blaze, which is unreal against most decks right now. Like absolutely fire.
I found myself also the Megidra Ace. I found it to be really weird that nobody was running Crimson Blaze or Megidra Ace, even as a one-off still in the newer decks. And I found out it's mostly just because of one, playstyle. It'll always come down to playstyle, but two, against the decks that I am typically playing against will influence how I build my deck.
Yeah, of course. You always got to build for your own meta, right? But so going back a little bit, we're talking about how we this deck's become very toolboxy, and it's kind of down to pilot diff how you want to build your deck. So it's very hard to get your sense of a list. But one ironic thing we have here is we have Ben, who's a very, I'd say, like more defensive player. We have Laz, who's a more offensive player, and then we have Tyler, who's a more kind of like combo oriented. When you have these kind of style decks, do you think that the matchup spread for them is roughly the same, or do you think that there are more polarizing matchups? Like, for example, you let's say you face what's a good minute? Like, I'll throw Mirage. You know, everyone hates Mirage, right? Like, does one of your builds happen to do way better against Mirage? Like, I'd say Laz because you're just gonna kill them outright, or
Yep.
um, like, is it just in general kind of a middling matchup? Is it kind of general hard matchup? Like, how does your differences kind of change up for the matchups that you have? Like, is there something that's super polarizing to you?
I mean, I could talk about my Mirage matchup and say that I don't typically lose that one because I do outspeed, and then also having that protection makes it really difficult for them to deal with you, especially if you get there fast enough. That's why the turbo style for me is like really good. But there are still faster decks, and I don't have ways to control like some of these guys do. So like Megidra Ace is actually so fun. It's the one time I was playing it before the new stuff came out against Ben, and the reason I won was because of that card. And I don't know why I took it out. I think it's because I just wanted consistency in turbo, but it's so fun. So I mean, yeah, turbo I think wins that matchup where those mid range decks can't catch up to the speed of Gallantmon.
Yeah, I guess Mirage wasn't the best because you do have protection for it. But like, I'm thinking something more along the lines of like, what's a slow, like Tyrant.
Mm.
I feel like Tyrant. I'm a Tyrant player, so um, there might be builds that I'm thinking off the top of my head. Like if you just outspeed me, I just kind of lose. But maybe against Ben, if you're playing a little slower game, I might be able to play the slow game better, right? Like how do you find that matchup, Ben? Or have you not
uh,
faced it too much? Like theoretically, how would you find it if you
so the
haven't
way
faced it?
that my defensive build works is that like I prioritize putting the proto farms on the guys, let's just say Growlmon X, so that it can die in security and just do chip damage, and my secondary stack is my win condition. And like just having that extra security makes a whole world of a difference, mostly because like all the times I lose was mostly because like yeah cool that's a nice board you have there. Anyway, I'm gonna push out my rookie attack for game, and you're just like fudge. That's why I think Protoform is such a key tool, because it gives you an extra defensive layer, that a single option, and you can keep on doing it over and over again and get the pieces back, and you're not too reliant on Black Roll. That's why I prefer having a more defensive build. And as for the Green Tyrant matchup, it depends on the stack. Like if I get BT16 Gallantmon, then that's a whole different story, because I can't pop them. I can go into like insane numbers with the Digivolving and men attacking, and then go into Gallantmon X, and then I can go over it. I was playing against Yensol the other day, and Yensol had like his DP like 2800. Somehow I managed to go over it, and like it was crazy. It can go up to pretty high levels of DP, especially with my build.
Nice.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
because
think
I was trying to see if like what it would end up being, right? Because I feel like you said it's stack dependent, which of course, like card game, everything's gonna be stack dependent. So would you find that like more often than not you were running them over, or were there times where you would clash? Because I feel like a more aggressive build would go for something that's like either you run them over or you just overwhelm them with bodies, right? Or you overwhelm them with some sort of combo that they can't out really.
Again, that's the whole point. It's just like I try to. I always assume the first stack is going to die, and then the second stack is my win condition, where I can attack for game with securities down. So like usually, even if the first stack dies, I'm not really too worried about it. Just focus on the secondary stack.
Okay. Oh, so your defensive way is more just like it's like a
I'm gonna
shield,
outstall
like
you.
having
Yeah.
extra protos for more shield. Have an extra body to throw out in front, and then you throw your big stack. Whereas like I think Laz would just be me throw big body, me win.
And I also have a fond appreciation for BT 17 Gallantmon, because like it does make you go big. I think I got to like 31K today when I was just playing with my one buddy. Like
Damn.
I think it's super disgusting. Like, cool, your Alphamon can minus 15K. I'm still 16. Let's keep going. Like
Yeah, because with Gallantmon, you get the boosts from like it's like 3K again if you get the condition right, and then like 4K on the X's.
yeah, but then
if
you also
you're
have the War Growl X, which could give you 3 more, and then if you have the BT 12 Growlmon, that's another 2. Like it's just bleh.
Jesus, yeah,
yeah,
it's
if
just
you're building your stack, your Growlmon's typically BT12 or the BT9. Is it the BT16 or 17?
17,
That one can give you a 3K boost as well.
and then raid.
Even the
Yeah.
Wargrowl X gives you that extra 3K, and like make sure that they can't bottom deck you, which
Oh
is
yeah, they
like
can't bounce you. That's another reason why hybrid is, or not hybrid, Mirage kind of like fumbles, because you get that extra protection on your 5.
honestly good. I'm a Mirage hater. We've had Mirage for way too long. Good.
But
Okay,
yeah, to
so
go back to your question about certain decks and certain pilots having more or less difficulty with certain matchups, I find that like yeah, definitely. Since I'm very in the middle of Laszlo and Ben in terms of my playstyle and my deck, like for example, I was able to say that I feel more comfortable doing the Demon Lords matchup versus how they feel it. It's both deck and pilot based. Like if you gave me Laszlo's deck to play and I go to try to play against Demon Lords, obviously I'm not going to be able to do the same things that I can with my deck. But if you gave me Ben's deck, it's like there's the certain intricacies of being able to combine everything. So since I'm in the middle, I find that I don't typically have two polarizing matchups. I just find that every matchup sucks, and I hate playing this game because it makes me think.
Your games
Versus
always go to 3, hey?
no. Typically, sometimes I steamroll, sometimes I don't. But like typically, it's like, oh, I have too many options. I'm giving myself option fatigue, and I make the wrong decision sometimes. But typically,
yeah,
I
you went a
that's
little
what I
bit too
enjoy.
wide on the toolbox, right?
That is what
But
I enjoy about the game. Yeah.
It's
yeah,
fun.
yeah.
there's no wrong answers.
So with all our matchup talk, then I I get that Gallant is strong. Like we're a little bit past EX8, where I think that it was a little bit higher of a contender, but us going into 2.5 now, looking at kind of Japanese data, like I see there's a lot of like red, purple. Imperial is kind of the big guy out here. We have Royal Knights. We still have Imperial, Purple Hybrid, Magna, Jesmon. What else here? Like Examon. Where do you think Gallant sits in the meta now? I think it was on the kind of
I'm going to
a
be
little
honest.
bit the upper end for EX8, but with the new decks coming in for 2.5, where do you think that sits?
I have a very controversial take on this, and I have talked about this with many people, many friends, in regards to how Gallant is considered good in the West versus in the East. Gallant is it's a very explosive deck. If you find ways to counter it, or if you find ways to stop it from doing what it wants to do, you can obviously stop it, right? Like passing memory to get rid of a Gallant X. That's very easy to do. But in the Japanese or Eastern meta, since they are only best of one, I find that since Gallant is a more explosive deck, it is easier to win there than it is in the West. Here, I feel like it is not very, but is slightly overrated. And the people that complain about it just don't know how to play card games.
Yeah, we
Best of
actually have
one
a
format.
best of one formats are always kind of crazy. It's like who can consistently high roll a little bit more. And I've noticed that just the general trend that we have here is we value a lot more consistency, and we being the Western side of the game, we value more consistency, and we value more like we tend to slow the game down a little bit more. So I think of your three builds, Ben's actually like being a little bit slower kind of playstyle would be a good suit for the meta, but like it depends on pilot again, right? But I think in general sense, a more defensive kind of control-y thing with the ability to, with some kill pressure is a good thing to look at.
Yeah, because like you know how like I feel like decks stay alive here a lot more because you can actually take the time to learn them and play them and become that pilot, right? Versus in the East, they tend to rotate their meta decks really fast.
They suffer from new toy syndrome very
Yes,
heavily.
very
We
much
have
so.
psychopaths out here, like all of us in this chat. You guys have been playing Gallantmon for forever, through good and bad. I'm still playing Black or Greymon through good and bad. Like we have a lot of people who stick to their decks. Not to say we don't have people who switch to meta, but we do have a lot of
Mhm.
people who stick to our decks, and they have a lot more longevity. So what for you? You would say what, like top of tier two, kind of sitting, like kind of middle-ish, still very competitive, not like a like would you consider this a tournament winner card or deck,
Say
or would you consider this more of like a tournament topper?
I'd say that Gallant is a tournament topper with the ability to win a tournament. Like locals, 100%. If you got a good Gallant there, they can definitely take it, right? If you've got a regional with a good Gallant that doesn't brick and gets through all their god hands, they can definitely win. But that's again if the circumstances allow and if they don't get high rolled and outsped by the other decks that are currently in the meta that are doing some crazy bullshit.
Ben,
Yeah, I
Laszlo,
want
do you
to
guys agree?
chime in. I want to chime
Okay,
in
go
on
for it.
that. Gallantmon forever, top of tier one. I'm just kidding. No.
Hey man,
Actually,
all the letters that we're sending together to Bandai to give us more support is paying off, Laszlo. I don't
I
know
think
what
it's
you're
my
talking about.
fault. They keep getting money. No, I'm just kidding. The actual reason that I agree with you. I also think that it's very brave of us for stating where we think it's going to be 2 days or 3 days before the ban list hits. Because we
We're
could be at the
assuming no
top.
ban list. Like, sorry, we're assuming exactly how it is on a snapshot of 9:30 p.m. Eastern time on March 12th. So no ban list is touched yet. None of this. Just right now, what do we think of it? If we were to host, if we were to host a tournament tomorrow before the ban list, would you see it as like the categories I always think of, like instead of like tier one, tier two? It's like, does it win? Does it top? Does it win locals? Do you just bring it to locals and have fun, right?
In
And
all players, in all players of BrickCity, let's say every single player in BrickCity were to participate in a large scale tournament, I would say Gallant tops at least I would say two Gallants in top 8 and four
Yeah.
in top 16, but I would not say they would be in the top 4. there's a potential. Obviously, every deck has its potential. Every
Top
Gallant
16
is
for
good.
sure, I
But
agree, but not
but
top 8.
yeah, I would say
It's
at
a red
least
deck.
1 or 2 in top 8 and 3 to 4 in top 16.
It's a red deck. It's the color of brick. We are BrickCity. Like this is the problem with us sometimes. It's like, man, I've been going so good. And then you just hit like 2 War Growlmons in your hand, Tocado and like X antibodies, and you're just like, oh,
Yeah,
you know,
sometimes
and
you get the I searched 16 cards and couldn't find a rookie.
Oh my god,
Yeah.
don't hit me with that again. I got PTSD from that.
It's a red deck. It's a card game. To say anything else would be lying. But at the same time, it's the tools that we have. Like, I don't know. It's so strong, and I'm just gonna say this: the number 1 or number 2 deck that wins that tournament will 100% include Medieval Gallantmon. So we just win no matter what.
That is true.
We
I
win
do
by
agree with that.
association.
Oh,
That's
every deck's a Gallant deck if it has Medieval Gallant. I get you. Hey, wait,
That's
Red
what
Purple
I
doesn't
told.
play it. Red Purple Imperial doesn't play it. That's like the only deck I think that's at top of meta that
But
doesn't
they
play it.
can. But
They can, and they have, and I've seen it, and it
Have
is
you?
Because-
I haven't
frustrating.
seen any lists with them.
It has shook me to
Partition
my
makes lots of
core.
bodies.
I'm gonna be honest. Going into the future metas, like I think the way that I and Lazo I think is gonna be is that we're gonna work with what we have. Like I'm sure we're gonna get more tools depending on the meta. Our Gallantmon top ends will probably change just so that we can counteract it. Even if it's not the greatest, we're still. I think even Tyler can also agree that regardless, we're still gonna play it, even if it's top end or not. Like
Oh yeah, of course. It's your baby, right? Like I think the thing that's really nice is the fact that it's kind of the consensus. Like Ben, you agree here that basically it's a topper but not a winner, right? Like you'd be topping some tournaments, occasionally eke out a win here and there. But the thing that we get from that is that it's still competitive. It's still a strong enough deck that you can play it, and if you high roll and you get a good matchup spread, you know that everything falls in place that day. Like you can end up winning, or you can end up doing really well. But then at the same time, it's like it's still just a strong enough deck that you won't just lose to
we're gonna
Jank, right? Like I like the fact that you just have a good power level that's able to compete, and you don't have to do too much maintenance on it.
We are
it's
consistently inconsistent.
it's rough mostly because like the most of us who play the tournaments like we like I don't go and play tournaments anymore. I can't do this 9 rounds bullshit and just be like, hey, listen, I'm gonna stay here for 9 rounds and play. Maybe if 6 rounds would be fine. Like Kosari, I think is still he's one of the greatest Galmon players. And like I think he had the highest ranking. Maybe he was like 28 or something in one of
Yeah,
the
I think
tournaments.
so.
Yeah, I don't think that like Galmon players, like the pure Galmon players, would want to go all the way there and like can do it. It's not saying we can't. It's just like I don't think we have all the tools that like the other colors have. Like Digivolve is
Well,
a major tool that's like hindering us.
I think the one thing that's kind of shameful is the fact that we didn't have I think we had like one event. Like we didn't have any major like we like we're kind of in a dry period. We're in that weird off season between all the nationals and worlds. So we didn't have any big events during the time of EX3 when or EX8 when I think that Gallantmon had peaked. I think that you guys got a lot of your tools around this time, right? So it's a little bit shameful that we didn't get any tournaments around here because I would have liked to see the results.
Who knows? Maybe Niagara, like we all can go. Yo, Laszlo, fly over here, bro. Stay at my house. We'll rock this tournament.
I really want to. I've been like we have a Saskatchewan team going out there, but I'm gonna tell you right now, my third baby is due in May, so it's not
Oh
happening.
my goodness. Yeah, no, you can't make it for that.
That's gonna be just bring them along. Bring them to Niagara. It's always Niagara's a good family fun location. If you
Yeah,
happen to disappear for a
just
couple
have
hours,
just have your wife give birth in Ontario. That way you can just keep coming back.
that's true. There you go. All right, so just kind of looking forward here. Um, I got kind of two things I want to ask. So the first one's like, with the current tools that you guys have, like good, bad, kind of a mishmash of different strategies. Do you think it's enough for you to stay meta relevant? Like I know that we talked about how it could be a contender, but being still in that competitive tier, that's still topping tier. Do you think you have enough tools that you can switch around depending on the meta to kind of continue this sort of power?
As long as for what I believe, as long as we have BT17 Gallantmon, which has got like helps the deck so much. I honestly thought it was the worst Gallantmon that ever came out. But as soon as the Aces came out, I'm like, yo, this is the best Gallantmon ever. I don't care if this card is a common. As long as this is there, I have confidence in the future, because as long as I can like make sure that like I'm unaffected by opponents' effects, especially the Aces, I think that itself is a pretty good tool.
I do remember talking about when the leaks for BT17 were first coming out. I remember sitting at Manta with Ben and Herman, shout out Herman, that we saw BT17 Gallantmon leak, and we were looking at each other like, yo, this is so bad. Like, why would you gain blocker on deletion? You're going to be swinging, you're going to be suspended anyways. Why would you need blocker? And we just were like hating on the card so hard, like it was our full-time job. But it turns out that that is one of the most pivotal pieces in the deck, and it is hilarious, and it will always be in the deck.
I guess we all underestimate how much Bandai can cook sometimes, right?
Yeah, but
Well-
they pretty butchered the new Gallantmon with
Oh my god, the
piercing.
new one is so stupid. I mean,
Hey,
yeah, you
I
can
have a
raid,
different
but like,
opinion. I have
no,
a
I
different
agree.
opinion.
I agree that you can cook with it, but I personally do not like it as
hear
much.
what Laszlo has to say. Let's hear him out.
It's not better than the ones that we're all talking about, but it is such a strong. It's such a strong win more card. Like warping into it just to gain your 2 memory plus blitzing, gaining 2 more memory plus all of the other stack that you're gaining memory, especially if it's like starter deck Growlmon and all that shit. And then having your Takatos from EX2, you could literally bring yourself to almost 10 back from a blitz swing. It's ridiculous. It's so funny. Like,
To be fair,
you, we're all gas player. That's why you love it so much.
no, ever since we got warp and mill pieces, everybody has forgotten or only texts in BT2 Gallantmon, right? And like that card was ass before.
I used it a lot. And
I
I'm gonna
I
use it
also
in Mill.
used it, but that's the thing. Ever since we got warp, it's just like, oh, okay, cool. You got an empty board and you have 3 security, but you have 30 cards in trash somehow. Cool, I win, right? Like that. It's become such a good card. And with all of the new pieces, with all the new supports, we will continue to have old, crappier cards that will become better and more useful in the meta. Like the new pieces that we've seen for BT21, God bless Bandai, because now we have blocker on plays, Chaos Gallant being teched into Gallant, or Magidra being teched into Gallant, now makes that a bit more viable, helps destroy the board, helps clear a bunch of different things, and partnered with that new promo Gallantmon, in theoretical hands, you can recover 5 to 6 cards in one turn.
I'm not
Yeah,
a
it's
fan
pretty
of
crap.
that Gallantmon. I'm gonna be honest with you. That Gallantmon, I'm not a huge fan of.
I
It's
love
more
it.
yellow red. I agree with you. I see where they're going with it because it's got no on attacking too. It's just on the on play when evolving. But being able to recover, because sometimes you're just sitting there and you go, oh, I am 1 card off of card in trash to win game. I need 1 turn to live. You just hard drop that, and it's just so it's so good because you don't have to worry about your board being empty.
realization. Ben is going to have the same realization. He's going to be like, man, this card's bad. And then he's going to realize he's a defensive player, loves the recovery, gets that extra turn.
I was gonna say that's perfect for you. For
Yeah,
your
wait, that's
game plan.
crazy. Dude, it has rush, blocker, and recovery.
Exactly, and on play of that, it's just
He's going to
it's
love
just
it.
you pair that with BT5 Magidramon. The only problem with BT5 Magidramon is that it does not have a rule box stating Chaos Gallantmon in name. But imagine that you rush, you swing, or you die with that Magidramon. You can play out a medieval Gallantmon. You can play out the promo Gallantmon. You can play out any Gallantmon in name. It's hilarious.
Yeah. To go back to the question of like our spot in the meta in the future, one of the things that I forgot to bring up with hard matchups was if we all of the metas, I think we have a good time like adapting, except for hybrid meta. I think hybrid is the bane of our existence right now. We don't have really answers to that.
We need tamer hate. Magidra needs tamer hate.
I think Magidra needs it.
If
Magidra-
Megidramon has
Magidra-
gamer hate, that's it. Game over. Galmon,
Magidramon should have
number
been
one.
like delete a 6K Digimon and a Tamer.
Yeah. I mean,
Or like
delete
something
all
like that,
goes
yeah.
hard though. Delete all
Delete
goes
all
hard.
Digimon is probably my favorite text on a Digimon card, and I will be making a high rarity Magidramon deck with all of my extra
It's
Gallant
so
pieces.
goofy. It's so goofy, but it's so thematic. I love the new Magudra stuff. Like
I-
I'm really liking that they are. I don't know what happened with Chaos Gallants before, where they like kind of gave it like a sprinkle of support and then just kind of let it die,
EX4,
and
yeah.
then they like gave it a little bit of sprinkle support, but in a different light, and then they kind of
we
let
don't
it
talk
die.
about that.
I would like to
I'm really liking that they are very leaning like down the Chaos Gallant Megidra line. Like that is
I-
a very nice split in the line.
I really need to tell you guys this. This makes BT12 Takato really good because watch this. Ready? You have a Gallantmon in hand, or you don't even have a Gallantmon in hand. Let's just say you raise your Guilmon and you have 4 of those Takatos out. You tuck 4 of those Takatos. You fuck. Oh my goodness, Freudian slip. You tuck 4 of the War Growlmons that say on deletion trash top card of security, and you tuck 4 of the Growlmons that give you 1 memory back. You swing that Gallantmon. Suddenly, all of the security is gone. You've gained 4 memory, and you just play a rush to win.
That is such a meme, brother, and I love it.
But do you know how funny it would be? Because it's so easy for us to get out Takatos that
Especially if
now,
it's
because like that deck, you wouldn't have to blitz. All you have to do is mill, get your Takatos out, get your pieces in trash. Once you are able to do that, you tuck your Takato, you declare that you are tucking it, not going to warp to Gallant, and then you swing, you're a Guilmon, you die, and then boom, you gain like 5 memory, you gain and you trash like 3 security.
So goofy.
Yeah, I've been cooking this list. And also, you can do that with Wargrowl Ace, and you can get like a hypothetical like 56 or 62k deletion stack. It's almost impossible.
hilarious,
I mean,
dude.
it's almost impossible. This is a theoretical stack, but you can get to that.
And that's so goofy. But like I like the fact that you're able to do like it's not impossible. It might come up at some point in one of your matches. You might be able to pull this off. And I think that if you do that, that person's quitting the game.
And I want to be the one that makes them quit.
You win the war. That's what you're going for. You're gonna win the. Not only did you lose the battle, like so you're gonna lose this battle, but you're gonna win the war.
Exactly. And then the trash is going to be filled up enough to be like, all right, cool. You've hit me like 5 times in my security. I'm going to drop all of these promo Gallantmons. Also, oh my goodness, promo Gallantmon with Jedi's Crib. You just play one out, it kills itself. You do it 3 more times, you've recovered 4. It is amazing, and I love it. And this is like the funniest. We have gotten the funniest support that I have seen in a long time.
So with that then, yeah. So with that then, I know that we at the time we're recording this, we're getting leaks for BT21. We're seeing kind of the Megidra line, like the purple red stuff. But if you had an item that you would throw on your wish list for future Gallant support, what would each of yours like? This is the card I want in my deck. And please don't be something crazy like I want medieval Gallantmon, but it costs 5, right? Like realistically, what is that one piece that you need in your deck that you want on your wish list your wish list that would be crazy for the deck?
Just Granny, bro. I just want a thematic Granny card.
Granny would be amazing. Also, the actual red card would be cool. They have already given me essentially what I've been wishing for, which is turbo even faster with the option card, the purple option card. So we have the purple option card, we have blocker, we have the Megidra that nukes the board. I just wish that the pieces milled as well, milled your opponent as well, and not just you.
Okay, so it's kind of similar to what we have with the addition of adding in some mill.
Yes, I personally, because that I find that to be my favorite play style of Gallant is to mill and then go, all right, we both have 30 cards in trash 6 security, I win. I really like the last swing game That's it. So any mill pieces that trash both trashes and is part of the Gallantmon line, I would personally love.
Perfect for the combo player in here.
That
Laz,
is
you
me.
mentioned you want Granny. What would you want Granny to do?
Honestly, I don't
Cheat
even
Crimson Mode.
care.
Cheat
I
Crimson Mode.
want an equipped card for my boy. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just want to slap it down, tuck it under, and do something. I don't care what it
Granny,
does. It could be the best thing ever. It could be the worst thing ever. But like, I just want it to be so thematic when I lightning joust into my opponent's security for everything.
okay, the most thematic would be Granny as a delay option. Search your deck for a Gallantmon, only
No.
Gallantmon. No,
No
wait.
searching.
Hear me out. Oh, no. Hear me out. Because if you go, because in the show, he dies. Spoilers for a 20-something-year-old show. But if the delay effect, if you digivolve to a Gallantmon, trash this card from the battle, or remove this card from the battle area to digivolve to a Crimson Mode. Because then you would be able to warp, like, raise Guilmon, warp for game, go to Crimson Mode, right? Like, that's the only piece we are really missing to be like, if we had that piece, being able to go from a Gallant to or cheat out, going from a Gallant to a Crimson Mode, we would be disgusting.
What would you want? Kind of like a primogenitor kind of thing for
No,
that
like
Ariel has?
like a when digivolving, if you have a Tocado or like if you have like delay effect, if when digivolving a Gallant from like specifically from Guilmon to not make it broken, then like go directly to a Crimson Mode, because that's what he does in the show.
So extension of your warp. So instead of just
Yes.
warping to
Combo
Gallant,
the warp,
go to
combo
Crimson.
the warp, and that way you would be able to blitz for game on Crimson Mode. That would be gross and disgusting, yes, but that would be thematic, and that would bring our deck to the next level.
Okay.
It could also just be a protection for Gallantmon in name, right?
Yeah, it could also just suck. That would be great. Like on deletion, bring a Crimson Mode back from trash or something.
Yeah, like I think thematically, the thing that's really good, Digimon, I do think has a really good like sense of flavor. Like they very make things like very flavorful, very like thematic to what it is. Even the lore Digimon, I don't know too much of it, but the few bits that I do know, it like the card fits what it would do, right? So like these are kind of cool ideas that we throw up. Ben, what do you think that the deck needs, or like what's not needs, but like what's your wish list item?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I want access to the color black so I can get D-Digivolve
Oh,
so much.
Soon.
I mean,
Black
that is the last color we need.
That's the last
Eventually,
color. I want Chaos Gallantmon to be a
with black,
tricolor.
purple, black, red.
Yes.
Yeah.
I want it. I also like. This is too much. I know I'm never getting this, but if we do, if somehow Chaos Gallant has an effect of like delete one of your Guilmon and pop a Tamer, that would be just fucking legendary. This Tamer removal and D-Digivolve, as long as we have access to it, or even like I want a Wargrowl that has got like ability to access black, so somehow you can get the D-Digivolve mechanic, because I think that's the key mechanic that Gallantmon desperately needs. We have raid, we have piercing, we have recovery +1, we have pretty much everything except D-Digivolve. If we have the last key mechanic, D-Digivolve, I think that's great. Now we also have retaliation too, so that's crazy.
I would like to throw this really crazy thing out there that I literally woke up in the middle of the night to think about. Heavy Metal Dramon Ace in Mill or Gallantmon, because every Growlmon is... Sorry, this is so random, but every Growlmon is Dark Dragon, and it evos for 4. Actually, no. But like running the heavy metal pieces I found in the deck, it as this weird mishmash has actually kind of been successful from what I've been seeing. And hopefully if that gets more support, maybe we'll get more support from Megidra, because it looks like they're kind of intertwining these things in theme. I just went on like this weird tangent. My bad.
Yeah. I want what
Joe
he's
just wants
smoking.
rock and roll.
I want what he's smoking, but like, I mean, I kind of get it. It's
Also,
it's
everything
like
gets
It's two
Blocker and
purple red
rush.
decks that have evil dragons. The only thing that kind of gets weird is like you are draining a lot of resources between milling and decking, or milling and discarding. That's a lot of your resources just disappearing. But I guess that
That's
because you are purple, you're able to use the trash pretty well.
Yeah, I would say only level 5 and higher from heavy metal would really fit into Gallant. But I mean Magidra at this point, not really Gallant, but I feel like that. I feel like as Gallant, other decks getting support with these certain key phrases will just allow us to make a bunch of other jank decks, which would be fun.
Please,
Oh,
And
Panda,
you
hopefully,
will.
give us
hopefully we get de-digivolve on one of these extensions. Maybe, possibly, will
I
never
think we're
happen,
pushing
but
it.
it would be hilarious.
I think we're
Yeah,
pushing it if we were to get Digivol, but I think that will make the deck able
Uh,
to go into top
hey,
4.
I think that in a red black card that's gonna get DDGevolve first is gonna be Black War Greymon. Because like that
Yeah,
line already has it.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
that idea you gave of like delete a Guilmon, or I guess I don't know if it'd be like delete a Digimon, but like
Yeah,
deleting Guilmon to delete a Tamer is actually
That'd
like
be
I think
so
that's a sick
funny.
effect. I think that's a super
No,
sick
no,
and it's like super thematic to what it is too.
delete
And
the Digimon or Tamer on your side to delete a Tamer. I'm perfectly fine with that.
Yeah, like I
That would
think
go
that's such a
so
cool
hard in the
trade-off
Pidgeot.
effect that it would work.
Oh,
that could get sprinkled in a lot of shit too.
Yeah. Yeah. But like that's kind of how Tamer hate works, right? Like there was at some point a lot of decks that were just kind of sprinkling like a copy of Black or Greymon in just so they could delete things, right? When there's a lot of Tamers.
It's true.
But this could be another way around it. Like Tamer hate's just one of those things that in the game is very sparse, so you take it where you can, right?
We should make it so that they should make it so that Gallantmon or Chaos Gallantmon specifically can raid into a Tamer.
That I don't know how they make that work, but
It
like
would just the
that'd be
image,
wild.
just the image of Chaos Gallantmon spearing
You can raid
Takuya.
into a Tamer. You can raid into Marcus when he's when he's a Digimon.
no. Better
That
idea.
would be
When
hilarious.
this Digimon attacks, return an opponent's Tamer and then trash the Tamer.
So deleting one of your own Tamers to delete their
When
Tamer.
attacking, return one of their opponent's Tamers to the top of the security, and then you can trash a security.
That no, it would be something
What
like
are we,
returning to top of.
Mastimon? Like,
Yeah, no, that Ben, you're
You're just
way too
making
far.
chaos. You're just making chaos degrade.
I think that thematically, if you're speaking about this, like the whole delete one of your Digimon or Tamers, I guess, to delete one of their Tamers, I think that's a super sick effect. And like, I can think of things like BT5, I think it's BT5, the purple Guilmon that comes out. You delete that from
Gain
like
a
free
memory.
playing off EX3 War Growl. You delete that, you gain a memory, you delete the Tamer, you continue your combo from there. Like, that's super sick.
Yo, can you imagine? I'm saying this, and then like Bandai actually releases it, and I'm like, yo, profit.
You're gonna never play Gallantmon again because you're gonna
I am
feel too
playing.
meta.
Who knows?
No,
We might have John Bandai as one of our listeners. All right, boys. I think we're at time. We got some pretty good discussions in today. So I just wanted to thank everyone for listening to the Brick City podcast reboot. I plan to do more. I plan to do more episodes in the future, getting on more guests. We have a couple ideas down the pipeline, and like I said, I'm commandeering this from Andrew and TJ because they're busy schedules.
I'm gonna be his
Just
sidekick, just joining in.
yeah, we'll be pulling in Ben. Ben's one of our Brick City mods, or one of our lovable mods. So you'll see him in a couple episodes here. We'll try to get some pretty interesting topics that we have, but stay tuned for those. Just quick shout outs. We want to shout out Brick City, great community. Manta Gaming, Dragon's Den, Untouchables, Red Riot Games, SixTalez himself for producing these little sprites that we're using for our podcast, and our mystery producer who does not want to be named. Thank you so much for all the work that you're putting into this. You boys have anything else you want to shout out?
yeah, for sure. I'd like to shout out to the Net Ocean Swim team and the rest of the Team Saskatchewan guys. You might see them in Niagara. Say hi to them. Also, Dan Vang for being here in spirit. Thank you, brother.
We weren't supposed to tell him we don't have Dan Vang.
Oh, no.
We have Dan Vang at
No,
home.
it's all
and
good.
it's
Yeah,
just
we have
me.
Dan Vang at home.
It's me.
Dan was busy. He couldn't make it to this one. Tyler, Ben,
Um,
anyone you want to shout out?
I would love to shout out my friend Scroy. He is the reason I'm playing Digimon, and I hate him every day for it.
For me, it's gonna be Kosari. I wish he was in this podcast, but he's a little bit busy with his stuff. He was like the original inspiration for me to play Gallantmon. Like every time I would saying that, like, yo, who's the best Gallantmon? Everybody would say, yo, it's Kosari. Then I met him, and he's a pretty cool guy. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, maybe we'll have one on a future episode. All right. Thanks everyone for listening.
Thank you for having us on.
Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like our videos.
DM AP mock that. I'm kidding. Goodbye.
Goodbye.